Item hash SCP-3035. Object class Safe. Special containment procedures. All known instances of SCP-3035 are contained in Site-173, a decommissioned Foundation site. Site-173 has two entry points: Entry A and Entry B. Entry A, the primary entrance, has been buried beneath 4 meters of concrete. Entry B, a vacuum tube transit system, is used for deliveries to and from the interior of Site-173. MTF New 13 Raschak's Roughnecks is to maintain a provisional base at Entry B. They are to terminate any instance of SCP-3035 on site. Approximately once a week, a package will emerge from Entry B's vacuum tube system. Typically, this package will contain various non-anomalous materials. See below. Each package is to be placed in quarantine, where it is to be examined, documented, and then incinerated. Entry into Site-173 is prohibited until further notice. Description: SCP-3035 is a strain of Paraplanetu americani, American cockroach, or water bug, that mimics the behavior and outward appearance of organisms it observes. This mimicry is superficial. For example, while an instance of SCP-3035 may reproduce the coloration and behavior patterns of bumblebees, they will not reproduce a bee's complex social network or unique form of communication. Instances of SCP-3035 will mimic each other more rapidly than other organisms. This leads to a feedback loop. One instance will adopt a new attribute only for all other instances to immediately mimic the first instance, acquiring the attribute for themselves. It should be emphasized that this mimicry is only a shallow approximation, an attempt by some as of yet unknown process to look and act like something else. Regardless of the extent of this mimicry, instances of SCP-3035 still retain many of the characteristics associated with cockroaches. SCP-5385 Incident One. On February 14, 2004, SCP-5385 began to show signs of vertical movement beneath its surface. Its center, the heart, also began to rapidly beat. Several seconds later, it began to transform. Begin log 00002. SCP-5385's lower parts begin to twist and elongate, with ossification being observed within its crevices at the same time. The upper section also begins going through a similar process. 04. The upper and lower sections of SCP-5385 begin to resemble humanoid arms and legs and attempt to move. As it tries to stand with its legs, it uses its arms to grab the structure to support itself, but is inhibited by its sagging mass. Simultaneously, the flesh of the cadavers trapped within SCP-5385 begins to pull away from their bodies and fuse with the main mass. All that is left are bones. This new mass travels beneath the skin of SCP-5385 and convulses until it starts to compress on itself, giving the mass the shape of a humanoid. 08. SCP-5385 latches onto the roof with its arms as its legs dangle in the air and swings in a back and forth motion before letting go of the roof and falling into the lobby of the Homburg Hotel, destroying 4 floors in the process and causing pieces of wood and concrete to erupt beneath its feet. 12. Hundreds of faces bearing the same expression as the tumors on the cadavers appear on the skin of SCP-5385 as the entity begins to dig into the floor of the hotel lobby. Once SCP-5385 has ceased digging, a large crevice in the floor is seen. Loud, wet noise, similar to meat being slapped on stone, is heard from this crevice when a purplish, cone-shaped mass of flesh emerges from it, hereby designated as SCP-5385A. SCP-5385A's surface then splits open into 4 sections, revealing a pink tube, and vocalizes, "You will become unto me, as I will be unto you." 16. SCP-5385 Skin Ruptures, causing the tumors to fall off its body and shrivel into an atrophied state. Cone-shaped masses then begin to grow and take their place where the tumors once were as they release large amounts of white foam. 20. A head begins to rapidly form at the top of SCP-5385's section as a nose, a pair of eyes, ears, and a mouth takes shape. The face then mimics the expression found on the tumors and enters, head first, into SCP-5385A, causing foam to overflow from inside it. SCP-5385 then vocalizes, albeit muffled due to its head being inside SCP-5385A, to the end of time, together forever. Unidentifiable noises are heard for several minutes before SCP-5385 and SCP-5385A both begin to vibrate and eventually combust. End log. After this event, SCP-5385 and SCP-5385A were both reclassified as neutralized. Timmy Orsworth's statement. The former owner of the Homebridge Hotel, Timmy Orsworth, gave a statement regarding the letters from POI 584 to the local authorities before SCP-5385's formation. An excerpt was retrieved and is provided below. "I'm telling you, you need to find that kid. Fucking weirdo. I swear to God he isn't right in the head. He talks in this strange way and never looks you in the eye either. I keep telling people to keep their kids away from that television. And when they start looking at me like I'm crazy, I take them by the arm and point at him. Then I say, that's what happens when you let television raise your kids. They listen after that. That they do. Proof? What other proof do you want? I gave you the letters, didn't I? He's not mentally sound. Put him in a straitcoat or something. I don't care what you do, just keep him away. Why didn't any woman come to you? 'Cause there isn't one. That boy doesn't want a woman or a man. In fact, he doesn't want any human. Let me tell you something. A year after I had my hotel built, I saw that punk wandering around the building every single day. Raining, cold, or hot, it didn't matter. He was determined to be out there no matter what. One day I decided to see what the fuck is his problem and found him in the act. Motherfucker had his dick rubbing against the wall of my building. That boy don't want no woman. He wants that building.